moving into the map. We'll definitely get an opportunity to see what their main strategy and plan is going to be as they move forward. Shenandoah is running out with their normal lineup, to my kind of understanding, the same with Nova Nighthawks. And I'm very excited to see how they want to try and commit to these fights, especially because I think the Wrecking Ball composition is kind of taking over the collegiate scene as of recently. So will these teams try to more rely onto that composition and use it moving forward, or will they kind of just fall and use what they're more comfortable with?
I don't think Shenandoah A, of course, a well-known ball team in the MAEC, but I haven't seen Shenandoah B running it as much. Whereas the Nighthawks have been kind of sticking to Winston, Ryan, and Arissa comps as well, but playing all three of them. We're rolling out here with a double shield on the defense, with a pocketed Ash, and Nighthawks could be rolling out with this Nanoblade dive. We'll see if they stick with that.
Could definitely work out in an interesting format. I think a lot of teams have a heavy reliance onto that Nano Blade rather than letting Genji get value as itself as a character. Genji is one of those characters that we really can't say is like fully meta defining. So it'll be interesting to see how they're going to be mixing it around. Not having Brigitte is going to be a little easier when Winter wants to move into these fights, but it's still not too much to worry about, especially because Kermit is trying to get early poke in. The bubble is going to be able to kind of deny a bit of room, look for any sites, though that Echo wants to try to put more pressure onto Kermit. The dive is just trying to get set up so they can start moving into the enemy team, still taking a lot of time and resources, and eventually they want to be able to isolate out Kermit. Though the concussion blast more than enough to try and escape, Charles is just going to be able to kind of take you out. Charlantis is absolutely insane when it comes to that Echo, and it's just showing. Now they're moving forward. Though they lose out Magic, they've at least still have that bubble, meaning they are going to be able to isolate out that Orisa, look for this continuous poke, and find them out. The immortality is just not enough to go against this. His focus fire is absolutely insane. They even build up the nano for the next fight, and that's how Nova Nighthawks are going to have the advantage in the capping first point.
Yeah, they nearly got that Nanoblade as well. But the way that they just, they looked for the one member of Shenandoah B who was kind of isolated from their core, and it's the Ashe. The Ashe is kind of playing where Ashe wants to play. Unfortunately, that just makes her such an easy target for a coordinated dive to come in and Nova Nighthawks punish her. She might have to play a little bit more with her team in order to counteract that. We're going to see the Nanoblade here. Winter charging up an extra like 40% in this stagger.
It's absolutely amazing. Genji can build it up so fast as long as you're just putting that damage into the Orisa, because they're really not going to be able to deny that value. Now with this setup, Nova Nighthawks, they have a lot of room to push in. They have to be really careful though, because Magic Gnome already taking a lot of damage against this. Dragons they're going to be losing too. Don't see them walking out with the blade. This is just not in their favor anymore, and it just seems Clarity is going to give them a moment to breathe.
Yeah, able to catch that fight out. Really good dragon from Clarity. And also just Magic Gnome, as soon as the cart turned that corner, he was the one pushing the cart, immediately melted to extremely low HP. Nova was kind of scrambling to get him topped off and weren't able to see the dragon coming.
Now, going into this fight, they have a big concern when it comes to this Nanoblade copy. The ultimates on Nova Nighthawks are just absolutely drowning on top of them. So they're going to have to just see how they want to prepare against it. They want to play more onto this payload, stop it from getting much value. Now the blade comes in. It's looking to break out that bongo. Finds two. Absolutely clean. The Bob even wants to try to stop it, and they even use that immortality. But it's just not enough. Winter's just able to freely escape, play around, even get a bit on fire. They may be able to sustain themselves and kind of control this point for a little longer and finding out Winters, but the rest of Nova Nighthawks, they're very much still alive, and eventually they are going to be collapsing on top of that Orisa Baptiste, so it's just not much you can do against it, and you're not with your team, so that is going to be kind of a big stagger. You're losing two people, and now the payload's already halfway to where it's going to be captured.
Yeah, a really good Nanoblade. It's just so hard for a poke comp like that to deal with Nanoblade. They ended up at least making that fight take a long time and forcing out the Primal as well. But that also means that they're 50% to another Nanoblade because of how long that fight went.
definitely a fair assessment, but it seems they want to use that copy just to give themselves a second to build it up. That's a 2K bomb, absolutely beautiful, especially with the respawns being in favor of the defending side. Shenandoah just moving forward, taking these ultimates very early to their favor. They're going to be able to cap just with over 4 minutes, so at least they have a good time bank when moving into third, but Shenandoah, they're kind of struggling. I accidentally said that they were doing the ones well, but they're struggling when it comes to taking these fights early and kind of counterplaying against Nova Nighthawks.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the weaknesses of the poke comp. It can struggle into dive, especially when dive is taking the initiative as well as Nighthawks are. So we're going to see Shenandoah switch over to a bit of a dive comp of their own. They don't really have a flanker DPS that actually dives. They're playing more counter divey with their DPS, but they are running a monkey on it now.
They really just want to try and immediately shut it down, but the issue is that Wasabi's actually the one who's going to be traded in this early fight, meaning that this Nano Blade is freely uncontested. There's not much that you can do without that monkey trying to counter dive it, so that 2K is absolutely beautiful. The rest of the Nova Nighthawks are going to be able to move forward without any worries, and this payload's practically being steamrolled through.
Yeah, hopefully Shenandoah will be able to stabilize with this nano here. They might have to high noon as well, because the Nighthawks don't really... That was their best ults, right? That was Dupe, Nano, and Blade. So hopefully Shenandoah can stabilize with a Nano Monkey here.
I'm really hoping so, but losing out clarity, that's going to be an issue continuing further. Although Magic Gnome gets slapped, now they have to force themselves onto the point with that pick onto the Ana. This may be more into their favor. They have ultimates using that Primal Rage going up against Ninja Cupcake's bomb. It's not working out. That 2K was absolutely crucial to keep this up. They lost their own Ana, so now bringing in these trades means that they can force people off the point, though not Josh wants to trade it in. He gets a 2K of their own and is pushing forward. Wasabi even coming back to help, managing to find out the echo, but they continuously have to stay on to the point. Nova Nighthawks, they're eventually going to give it up, but they could have kept fighting that if they want to. We already saw Winter build up this blade, could have tried to ego it with the nano too, but deciding to want to play more back.
Yeah, I think he's just worried about the spawn advantage, which is pretty fair, and especially because they've already been steamrolling at such a fast pace, they can take that extra 30 seconds to confirm that they'll win with this Nano Blade here.
It's what they want to do, but as 6 already coming out, taking out clarity early once again. Same with both of the support lines. These poor souls, every ultimate's hitting them from every direction, and they have no room to try to break it out. May not have been an official team kill, but, well, they're even going to get that accidental remake onto the Tracer, and that practically has to be a team kill as we see them capture it. With 1 minute and 34 seconds, Nova Nighthawks, they're playing their conditions almost perfectly.
Yeah, really well executed dives from them. They're playing the Nano Blade correctly. They're farming it up really well. Kind of underrated, but the Magic Gnome on that monkey is doing a very good job at taking a lot of damage without dying. And they're farming up these nanos very, very quickly.
I'll agree, and I'm wondering what does Shenandoah have to do more exactly, because I feel like there's not one issue that you can kind of switch over. I feel like as a team right now, they're more struggling to synergize and kind of counter dive as the way they've been wanting to, or at least focus down the opponents who are putting pressure onto them. A lot of those moments we saw Magic Gnome jump in and freely be able to exist, splitting off not only the Orisa but against the support line, meaning Shenandoah. They're not fully synced in. They're not being able to peel in for each other, nor are they rotating when necessary. And that's giving Nova Nighthawks a lot of room to be able to build up an ult economy.
I think a big part of it was also just that they had a comp that kind of got countered by the Nighthawks for the first and second point, and from there it was just kind of difficult to overcome that momentum.
Man, I definitely agree. Steamrolls in Overwatch are absolutely oppressive at times, and they can definitely feel a little bit uncomfortable going up against. So I'm hoping to see it just a tiny bit more control, especially with the swaps into the compositions. It at least works into their favor that they can try new things out. We already see Nova Nighthawks, they're going on to the double shield, but Shenandoah, they're going to be somewhat mirroring, though without an echo, they're running traditional dive, except without the Lucio and without a Genji as Kermit gets poked out.
Yeah, they do have the Genji normally, just not at the moment. I really like the soldier pick here from Nova Nighthawks, although maybe not actually the strongest possible pick here. I just enjoy watching some soldier gameplay. And it seems like they're trying to take the style where instead of like running the Hanzo for the extra burst damage when the monkey actually dives onto you, they're just gonna try and poke them out before they can even get there with this long range spam.
Oh, and it hurts losing on clarity. Again, they're going into a 5v6 Shenandoah. They're not being able to synergize or really walk out when they want to. They're sitting here just standing on the high ground. Even Kermit's taking a little ride on the roller coaster, and more than anything, that is just lowering down their time bank tick by tick, and they need as much time as possible. They are looking to take this rotation as the Tracer returns, but then Clarity gets headshotted. They are going to just finally say, screw it, take this dive. Unfortunately, though, Wasabi is just dead. No healing absolutely possible there. And, well, not Josh is going to be staggered inside the back line. An interesting type of dive engagement, but more than anything, they need to stop getting staggered. It's hurting them.
Yeah, Winter just really just as a magnet to the Tracer's head, apparently. Catching him out like every time he blinks through open space. They might even need to soft dive just to rotate this Tracer in, not something that you normally have to do. Normally it's to rotate your Ana through. But with the way that Winter has been checking Clarity, he's gonna have a tough time.
I definitely agree. Winter getting these headshots have been absolutely game-changing. As much as Nova Nighthawks are consistently doing good as a team, it matters how you're being in the individual when it comes to these fights. Though Wasabi able to finally take out Winters, gets that nano, and starts moving in against that window. It's absolutely crushing them. They don't know what to do against it, especially with the monkey inside the backline. The rest of the dive team trying to move in. It just seems that Nova Nighthawks are officially going to be collapsing, and this point's going to finally start getting its way moving.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit of hubris from Nova Nighthawks taking that close high ground, which is significantly easier to dive. You know, they've won those past two fights so handily that maybe they got a little cocky there instead of staying in the safer and easier to execute position. Now we're gonna see them switch to a brawl composition, keeping the Mercy and the Ashe though.
But definitely quite interesting. We talked a little bit about the brawl before the map started. Even getting to see a little beautiful spray to kind of break my attention. But hey, that's just ADHD for you that I don't have. Now moving in, at least Nova Nighthawks have a good amount of defensive ultimates to try to go against just this nano blade. It is going to pop out. It's looking for that Sigma and eventually the Baptines. Look at that, a beautiful 3K and getting that clean set up just to move forward. Nova Nighthawks did use that Valkyrie just to try to sustain through. But if you don't shut down that Genji or move them away, they are going to be able to take you out.
Yeah, I think as soon as you see him dash up into the air, you gotta flux. Like, I feel like that's honestly worth it to just solo flux that Genji while he's nano blading, make sure he can't really do anything. Now they've got the shatter, they've still got the flux. Let's see if they can recontest this.
I think it could work, especially with Winter throwing out the Bob as a way to contest this point. When you see Clarity go down and missing that pulse bomb, that's absolutely crucial, and it hurts. Though this isn't even trade, losing out your Baptiste is going to be more in the long run. A massive anti is going to be hitting Nova Nighthawks, so they are at least going to just take a little bit of damage, but it seems that they are more than confident in their own ability to just be able to win this fight without a support. I've got to say, that's absolutely crucial. If you lose not Josh, that's not really the biggest issue, but losing your Baptiste is.
Yeah, the spawns were just so close that they were able to quickly overwhelm them. Shenandoah didn't really have many resources left other than that bomb, which is of course what eliminated the Baptiste. But after that, they were kind of drained, so to speak. They've got the nano, but they're only 50% to blade. I honestly think they could nano this fight and charge another one before the next blade.
I can definitely see that Kermit's just not having a lot of room to be able to just move in. It seems like they want to use this nano more onto their monkey just to be able to move forward and kind of overstay their pressure. Though with Magic's Gnome Shatter, they can easily just pop it down whenever more people are just kind of in their sightlines. Though they are going to be saving it. The rotations are there and the visors popping out as we see Charges being able to move forward immediately, not only take out the monkey, but same with the Tracer. Shenandoah have no room to be able to play this game in the format that they want to.
Yeah, even though Nighthawks don't have something like the Cassidy or the May that you normally see in Brawl to CC the dive, they've just got poke DPS and poke off tank. It's still working. It's still very tough for Shenandoah to dive into this team. They're gonna need to set up some better angles before they go in.
I'd have to say I agree. Now they're kind of struggling. Though they built this net up very fast, that Shatter still very much landed. Now they're having to use ultimates just to be able to kind of sustain themselves. The Pulse Bomb looking for someone, the Primal Rage trying to just CC and move them around. But even then, the Monkey is still struggling. Wob just doesn't have much room. Eventually, they do manage to find that small pick when it comes to Gosa, but Gosa is going to be able to return back really fast. So as you see, they're trying to end this fight as quick as possible, even using this blade. But unfortunately enough, because it was dry, there was no damage reduction nor damage increase, and was a little bit too horizontal for Winter to be able to just shut you down. Now they're going to be able to touch this point. The respawn on the favor of Noah is just coming in. Luckily though, it seems with the boops, they are going to be able to capture it, keeping their hopes alive, even though they are losing this fight, and they will have a lower time bank. They have at least set themselves up to capture the third point.
Yeah, Wabi Sabi with a great primal. Went in super deep, popped at the last minute to stay in the fight, and then after it ended, even though he was not quite at full HP or, in LOS of his healers, he kind of went hero mode and went in there anyways, took out both supports and died for it. But that 2-for-1 trade ended up being very, very valuable for Shenandoah.
I definitely have to agree. Though Shenandoah looking like they want to take this early fight, putting that pressure onto Magic Gnome. Although Immortality, a very powerful ability when you don't shoot at it, it's going to be able to keep them up and let them be able to sustain themselves for a while. And this rotation is already nice. They immediately try to predict where Shenandoah are going. Though Shenandoah just want to be able to take over the high ground with that Nano Monkey. They're using this window, pumping in that damage. The moment they start walking in, we already see Wob just get barely melted down. Kermit gets traded that bomb, hoping to make just a difference, also to allow that remix eventually going to be put down. And it's just a little bit more of a hurt because they're very much trying to dive. They're very much trying to work as a team. There's just no room you could do against two tanks who just put up a shield and block that healing from you, so you don't really have the resources to be able to move forward. Nova Nighthawks using just as much as they can to stop them from being able to touch. Kermit is able to find out magic, but they've lost the majority of their team, meaning this fight entering into overtime. It is a staggered one, but without the majority of their squad, it's up to Kermit to pull out this blade, try to make some type of difference. It's going to be looking for that hero play, but gets shut down by Winters. Concussion Blast is absolutely just dominating this map when it comes to just how these engagements are taking, especially with that Bob picking out the people who are low. We already see that 3K coming in, being the true MVP, though this Monkey trying to do as much as they can. It's a bit unfortunate. Shenandoah, they're not going to be taking Blizzard World because Nova have come in steaming hot.
Yeah, I would love to see the stats on that one because Winter was doing a lot on the Genji on the attack. Excuse me, on the Genji on attack and the Ashe on defense. Curious. I don't think it was a flooded deadlift, but it might have been pretty close, to be quite honest.
I don't really think so too. I feel like Shenandoah felt a little bit out of it. Maybe this is their warm-up match. I can definitely understand that Blizzard World be like that sometimes, and but that's going to be an issue kind of moving
Nice.
in. Now they are in the back foot, so either they have to win their next two maps, or they have to just, uh, you know, take the L. And I don't think that's something Shenandoah are willing to do. They've at least had some kind of fundamental ideas that I think we can both say that are in the right of heart, but in the wrong type of execution. So
Hmm.
when Lijiang Tower comes out, I feel this is a little bit more comfortable for them.
Yeah, potentially we could see the Brawl come out. If they've got a really good Symmetra player, obviously this map could be pretty favored. Charlantis, I believe, does play a pretty good Symmetra as well, but perhaps SU can make use of something like a Symmetra May comp and try to slow down the pace of the game and take Nova out that way.
I definitely have to agree. Though this map is somewhat favorable, I think, to dive, and that just doesn't seem to be kind of Shenandoah's own bread and butter. I can definitely see the fundamentals of Brawl being more in their quarter, or maybe a bit more spam, Make sure Nova can't play unified or as a team. They could absolutely be crushed under the weight if they're just not being able to work as a team, similar to how Shenandoah, once that bubble was kind of in between them, they weren't really able to work together. Though I do like seeing Gardens being used first. I think this will kind of set the momentum going into the second point. More than anything, this will show us if Shenandoah are ready to be able to bring it back in the ways that they try to fight it.
Yeah, I think Garden is actually not the one that you want to see for Shenandoah B, just because it does. The other two maps are a lot harder for, or a lot, not harder is not the word, harder locked in to brawl compositions, where you can play a Symmetra brawl and TP into the window on this comp, but ball and six-man comps are a bit more popular.
I definitely have to agree. The teleporter can be a bit more beneficial, I will say, especially against teams that don't really are just kind of struggling. I'm not gonna say like don't know how to play against it, because anybody knows how to play against a microwave type of team, but it's really hard just how much of a forehead of a move it can be, because they're just going to be able to sit down there. We do see the Shadow Brawl work out, and I like to see it. Sombra very much is the most annoying hero to me in this game, next up to Brig and Roadhog, but I can't say that it's not without fair use. Kermit almost gets stunned and taken. That was a little bit more scary, so they seem to just want to fight in the front of the point. That a hack onto Ninja really going to help much. They just stopped that DM for a little bit. Magic Gnome taking a lot of considerable amount of damage, just not getting enough healing, though they managed to find that pick onto Clarity. Eventually, Kermit, Nighthawks are able to just move back, get healed up, and then start pushing forward with no care in the world. They're easily just going to be able to stop Shenandoah's push.
Yeah, the McCree had that back angle covered pretty well, so it was really hard, and the Lucio, so it was really hard for the Sombra and the Reaper to actually get set up in the backline for an engage. And they never really like sped onto the enemy team. They kind of were just playing to live and try to poke out the Rhine, which is tough with the Brawl comp. Of course, we do see that Nighthawks are running an Ana as opposed to the typical Baptiste, so maybe Shenandoah can try to punish that.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. We are going to be seeing this wall kind of slow things down. That hack onto Ninja Cup, once again slowing down the DM. They are down their Monkey, their main engager, meaning the rest of the team are immediately going to just try to get some poke damage and maybe build up some ult charge, but they can't really take this fight. You already see them the moment they lose out Kermit. They are going to disengage and just retreat back, wanting to more of set up and kind of try to work together again.
Yeah, they need to be, I think, playing a bit slower and building these ults. It's frustrating to have to play slow into a sim, especially when she has point control. But I think you're gonna have a hard time winning this fight without significant ult combos or just a mistake on the side of Nighthawks.
Yeah, we see amazing 2K boom. Oh my, it's too early in the morning for this to be able to be so warmed up. Basically solidifying your own victory and changing how this atmosphere feels. Nova Nighthawks are looking fairly clean, though this EMP now coming up for the side of Shenandoah.
That's the 4th or 5th boop kill from Misa Rush B on this map alone, I believe. I saw him get won the first fight and won the second fight, right? So I think that's number 4 or 5. We'll see what this EMP can do.
I'm really seeing this kind of helping to look out. That Sound Barrier is able to kind of protect them for a while, as the EMP just didn't really find anyone or was used a little too early, whichever way you're looking at it. Now the Sound Barrier being used on Shenandoah is finally giving them some room to be able to play. The issue is that Magic Gnome is still alive, and playing Reinhardt as you play Reinhardt, where you just walk into the enemy team, you're just hitting M1 and W, and just look how much room they're being able to get. How is Magic Gnome still alive for this long? Eventually Clarity's gonna be done with it and shut them down. They're coming back with the Blossom, but Nova Nighthawks, they are slowly taking the advantage. That teleporter's not broken. Now they have a wall up, being able to defend themselves and slowly take that room. Eventually though, Kermit's gonna have enough. Kermit's finally gonna say, I'm done with it, and take that point victory, but it's at 99%.
Yeah, a really good EMP from Clarity. I think the issue is there that they didn't actually have an ult to follow up with it yet. They didn't have the Coal or the Death Blossom. But he does pretty much have another EMP because of how long that stagger fight went. On the other hand, we are switching Nighthawks switched to that Somber Reaper of their own, but they're keeping the Rhine, and Wabi Sabi is still stuck on this ball that he switched to go for the contest.
Definitely have to agree. This Nano going on to Magic Gnome, allowing them to move forward. And oh no, they've already lost two. This isn't looking great for Shenandoah being down. And now slowly Nova Nighthawks using that shatter just to be able to solidify taking out this Wrecking Ball. The amount of damage is absolutely incredible. We're just going to be able to see Nova Nighthawks start to put pressure. The stall now comes in. Unfortunately, though, you're stalling against a Sombra, meaning that there is no stall. There is only death. The EMP comes out, managing to land on 3, but without a team to be able to truly follow up and kind of save you in those long sustained fights. Feeling confident, they try to use the bomb just to be able to force them off in the Wrecking Ball to try to sustain, but unfortunately you're not spinning to winning, and that's not how you play Wrecking Ball if any monkey brain has ever taught me. So with Shenandoah slowly returning in, we're at least seeing Nova Nighthawks losing 1 by 1, but unfortunately it's just not in their favor. 43% to 100 is not a favorable spot, but Nova Nighthawks, I don't think they really care. They're feeling more confident than ever, and I gotta say, they're probably at least really happy to be able to take this at such a convincing level. Now moving into the possible last point night market. This could be an issue for Shenandoah if they can't really survive that long-term fight.
Yeah, we're finally seeing the Symmetra from them. We'll have to see if they can make it work. Nova Nighthawks, are they sticking on this Sombra? We'll have to see, but I really like the Doomfist. Of course, just teleporting and punching immediately into the other team's window is always very, very fun to just cause that immediate panic and chaos. Nighthawks with a pretty unorthodox comp here with the Ana, Zarya, and the Echo here.
I mean, anything can work. All the issue is that you let Shenandoah move in first, so you're immediately going to be losing out Char. They want to try and play more aggressive by moving in and trying to charge, but that's a little bit too much of an ego, if you ask me. Just having that confidence to be able to walk into your enemy team and say, hey, I'm going to use this shift ability when they're all looking at you. It's absolutely kind of just a big brain play.
Yeah, maybe they were going for the triple beam team, if that was their idea, to just stack all the beam characters that they can, which is, I mean, I give credit for that being funny, but I don't think it's very good, unfortunately.
It seems they are taking an immense amount of poke, though. That shield already down to half 500, and it's already being gone. At least Kermit's able to make a difference by finding out that Zarya, being their own mini Zarya in a kind of more emotional sense. We are seeing that while being able to defend them for a little bit. That charge hits not just the immortality, more than enough to be able to live them for quite a while, even forcing Nova Nighthawks to just back up and play a lot more conservatively. Charity even pulling out those Doomfist techs just to be able to escape. This is where the fight truly makes its difference, as Winter wants to walk in, try to put pressure onto the rest of the team. However, that shatter goes into the backline, finishes out Gosa, and Winter Magic Gnome too low to be able to move forward, though that bomb is at least there, so they have that confidence. Shenandoah are looking absolutely fabulous when it comes to these counter plays.
Yeah, and Nova has switched to a Pharah without a Mercy here, so they've got double flyer. They've switched from double beam to double flyer. I think they're gonna need to get onto a Mercy, but they have both support ultimates, so this is just fairly awkward for them here. They could come up on this grab barrage and maybe try to win the fight that way, but I don't see how you win this fight without overblowing your ultimates.
I have to kind of add on to that, is more than anything, they're not even being able to kind of work as a team. The moment they go in, they just get melted down. Eventually, they even feel forced to use that sound barrier. Maybe they want to just be able to play aggressive. Char is able to go onto that far up, start to be building up that barrage, but isn't really finding an execution or a kill. It's more of wasting their own time being alive. And now in this last fight scenario where Ninja finally built up that Graviton Surge, it just absolutely sucks. They didn't even get a chance to build up and use an ultimate that was big like that. So Shenandoah, at least, maybe are warming up and finally figuring out how to counter play as they take this side, and we go to the last and the scariest of all of the points, the servers.
I think it's a bit of a mix of that, and again, just a bit of hubris from Nova that they're up so far ahead. It was basically map point, so they brought out something weird that didn't really work in their favor. Maybe now they might have to take the boring but safe route, you know. And so far we see that, but we don't see a Symmetra from them. We see a Sombra instead. Another very interesting pick.
Well, you know, I think anything can truly work as long as you just run the confidence on it, or maybe you just know how you want to play. Shenandoah, though, makes it there first, similar to what happened before. Although that hack hitting Wob is going to hurt, especially with Clarity trying to go in, not having a shield or DM to truly protect. So you've now lost your Doom. It's a 5v6 scenario, and they have a Junkrat. This just hurts even more. We already see them pushing in. Shenandoah want to try and take this early fight, managing to find out Magic Gnome. That's absolutely gorgeous. Though this anti slowing down their engagement. It's almost like a small ensemble here. Kermit, though, missing your step, breaking the dance, is going to miss out that flow, but Charity is going to come back, be able to find out the Lucio, and combine with this window to force Nova Nighthawks to try to disengage. I mean, that EMP is massive, absolutely beautiful, but Breezy is feeling it today, able to get that 2K, sustain the rest of the team. The main tanks on the side of Nova Nighthawks are going to be able to slowly return. But again, respawn advantage, and they have a teleporter, so Shenandoah don't even care. That was one big ability used. They're gonna have to regret that in the future.
Yeah, Misa Rush B gets picked off by a random Doomfist punch that not even positive was aimed for him. Then he hits an amazing rollout to get to point pretty quickly and lands directly under a D.Va remake and dies again. This is just the most unlucky sequence I've ever seen for Misa Rush B. We're gonna see the early sim wall here. I'm not sure how much I like that. They can use the window too to try to stall for time afterwards. That's what they're gonna go.
Oh, beep, beep, beep. They're not able to really stop that Riptide, but luckily the Riptide doesn't kill anyone. Although it does do a small amount of damage to give Nova Nighthawks just that first initial pick, then the confidence to move forward. Night Josh also a little bit too eager to be able to throw out that bomb and then remag inside the enemy team. And then I'm guessing choosing to allow themselves to demag rather than just immediately walk off the point. They are eventually going to do it, so you have to question the process about it. That's a big ultimate to kind of give the enemy team for free.
Yeah, maybe he thought he could, when he got that boosters back, he could trade himself 1-for-1 and boost somebody else off the edge with him. That was what he was trying to wait for. When they all just kind of turned around for Sombra and let the enemy core walk over them. Like, I mean, the Sombra is annoying, but you really shouldn't do that much when you have the D.Va and the Rhine shield to interrupt attacks.
You make a fair point. It just seems though the sound barrier is gonna be canceled midway through. But Winter, using that EMP, the sound barrier may be able to kind of help them live for a little longer. But with that nano hitting onto Magic Gnome, it pretty much guaranteed they were going to be able to win this. They even want to be able to push out to shut down these DPS who are already dangerously low. But at least Nova Nighthawks are saying to themselves, we're already down a couple people. Let's not overcommit.
Yeah, Josh with another remake kill there at the very end of that chaotic fight as well. So they used the blizzard, or they used the tire and the EMP. Not what you want to see. Oh, Charlanta's getting picked early.
Oh no, and Charity got poked out. Hacked. Doofus is not able to do much. Breezy at least going to be able to make that trade. It just seems the Nova Nighthawks are entirely split, looking for more of just individual picks rather than unified value. They are just looking to find that isolation now, and this is how Shenandoah, they're getting the advantages in these fights. Breezy, though, caught out. No healing, just not enough from a baby Lucio, as I'd like to say. You're not going to be able to get much, and they even used his EMP to not only hack out Wob, but Charity, who I don't even think was noticing it with this bomb going high up into the sky. Nova Nighthawks are feeling pretty hot, good right now moving forward. They even build up a bomb of their own to kind of trade against. Though this window at least is going to give them a lot of room to not only slow down the Nova Nighthawks, but find room to be able to play. They are still not working truly as a team. They're now fully committing in. That Shatter going to be able to hit that Tracer, but look at that. Nova Nighthawks hits a better one, manages to take out the majority side. Shenandoah, they're not going to have a respawn opportunity. They don't even get a flip onto the point to give themselves a little bit of leverage. Unfortunately enough, it just seems that Nova Nighthawks, they're looking a lot better, they're looking a lot cleaner, and they're looking to take home the victory as we see them win out on Lijiang Tower.
I've never seen a Sombra on a brawl map go that unchecked. That was really, really good from Winter there. Just the way he was living pretty much rent-free in the enemy backline, and they either completely ignored him or all 6 of them turned around to contest him, both of which are not not the best option to deal with a Sombra, in my opinion.
I mean, I have to agree. I think that's Sombra's biggest issue as kind of you go higher inside these elos is attention and focus fire can definitely shut you down. That's why in like the kind of owl level or even a kind of tier 2, tier 3 scenario, those Sombras are either in that front line for like 2 seconds and then they leave, or they're dead. And that's kind of just how it works. And if you're not countering it out, well, Shenandoah, they'll show you. You just don't manage to win it. It is good at least to lose to it. So now you know in the future, well, that's our big weakness. We need to be able to play against them. And I can see that working out in the future. But more than anything, they're going to have to try to come up with a new plan. Shenandoah B may be gone, but at least when it comes to Shenandoah A, they'll be able to kind of take the revenge, and especially going up against GMU.
Yeah, we'll have to see. That's going to be a really fun match for us here. Both of these teams undefeated. GMU